Hey, you guys, and welcome to American Culture. I have just experienced like a major shift in my reality. It started maybe like a few weeks ago, but God started talking to me about how I didn't need to fix any negative situations in my life, i.e., I had surrendered things. I was no longer trying to be in control, but really life is about how I respond to certain circumstances. And it really changed my perspective on how I viewed responsibility. A lot of times we think responsibility is, oh, I'm taking on the weight of something, I'm going to manage it. No, responsibility is respond ability. Like, how am I supposed to respond to whatever is taking place? And I don't think I had ever really thought that deeply into it. For example, negativity and positivity, while they coexist, they can't share the same space. And so you can either focus heavily on all of the negative in your life, or you can see things from a positive perspective. And the thing is, most people, because we're in fix it control mode, we start to see things from a negative perspective, and we put all of our energy into making that better. What it ends up doing is it cancels you out from being able to see the good. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a story about my job. And it would be easy for me to go in there and nitpick and complain. And I had also, over the course of the past few years, kind of dealt with other people who would do that. But the thing is, when you go into a situation and you see negative there, the likelihood that you're going to leave from there and think, oh, this is great, is slim to none. But that doesn't mean that greatness isn't there. You see, I learned during the course of this that, hold on, let me move this, that God, what he was putting me in was the circumstances so that I could observe what's going on. The thing is, many of us believe that all of this is by some divine plan and we're in the right place at the right time, but we just don't know what to do there. And the reason why we never hear God direct us and tell us what to do is because we've already decided this is bad and God is good. And so when you put yourself into a bad space, the likelihood that you can even see, recognize, or hear the goodness of God diminishes. And so what happened was, I didn't go into this place thinking about what everybody else wasn't doing and all the extra work that I had to do. And I just kind of sat there in observance. And God started to tell me, I was complaining, you guys. I was like, there's no way that I can lift up this 90-pound person. God, what do you expect me to do with this? And I heard the Lord say, he can walk, he can eat, and he can go to the toilet. Now, he's an older child and he had never done any of these things. So having observed him, as a nurse, I kind of knew he could do some stuff, at least try it. But I decided, why not just go in and act like I believe it? So I don't even know how it happened, but the boy ended up standing up. Never stood up before in his life. We went from shuffling to now being able to take coordinated steps. We can sit up on. I can't even begin to tell you all of the different things that I've realized that he was capable of, simply because I believed what God said and I acted like it. And it suddenly clicked. That's how life is. And I'll tell you about the incontinence thing. You guys, never in my life, I don't even know how this kid knew what the toilet was or what to do there. But God said he could use the toilet. So I picked him up and I put him on the toilet the first time. And if he had not peed, I probably said, okay, Jesus, because he's heavy. Who wants to keep doing that? But he peed. He peed. I asked the doctor, the therapist, nobody has, it just doesn't happen. I can't help but say that that's a miracle. But again, it goes back to saying, okay, God, I'm in the right place at the right time. What am I supposed to be doing here? And believing in the grandness, the grandiosity, or whatever that the Lord tells you this situation can bring. You see, always a highest possibility to experience out of anything. But most of us, like I say, we put ourselves in such a negative space. We don't ever really ask, is there better available here? And so without asking, you're probably not going to be seeking. Without seeking, you're not going to find it, and you're going to stay negative. And that's the major shift that I've made in my life. I no longer respond to what I perceive to be bad like that. I don't take it on to where I have to fix that. I actually ask myself in situations, what am I planning here? Am I planning patience and kindness and love and generosity and humility and whatnot? Because that's what I want to grow from any situation. That's what's going to make things good. And so I no longer respond to negativity from the perspective of maybe enabling it to continue. I definitely only go into circumstances and ask God, how can I support the greater good here? And I live off the characteristics that do so. That's the other part of this. It's just recognizing that everybody is here playing a character, and that character is made up of certain characteristics, and it's those characteristics lived out that becomes your life. And so it became imperative to me a while ago to really see people for who they are. Are you kind? Are you considerate? How do you handle any type of adversities? This is what's going to create the reality that I live, not the version of you that I want you to be. Now, like I said, it became very important for me not only to just be accepted for who I was naturally, but to be accepting of all that comes into my space for what it is. God knows what He's doing when He sends you people in different circumstances. It's me that needs the direction. So it requires a certain level of humility every time that I go into a space of saying, okay, God, that's what Christ consciousness is. It makes you want to be of service. That's a whole different story for another day when it comes to love that goes into the whole do women become submissive when they fall in love? Because that Christ consciousness automatically, I don't know, turns on some type of service aspect deep inside of you, and you kind of do that. And so when you have that in regular life, you're like, well, what's good here and how can I make that better? So I no longer deal with negativity. You won't catch me gossiping or hating or doing any of that stuff. I really am here to support the greater good with the fruits of the Spirit that the Lord has given me to spread around wherever I go. Have a blessed night, you guys.